Welcome to this short presentation on conscious business and conscious marketing. This is for you if you ever think, I don't want to sell, I don't want to push people into things, oh, marketing, I can't do that, or it's icky or it's expensive. I've made this for you because, well, you'll see in a moment, I don't believe any of that is what marketing is. I believe marketing is about you having a phenomenal offer for humanity and health, and then being able to put it out there in a world in the way that people can see you and hear you. So I'm going to take you through this presentation. I suggest you have a pen and paper handy, and I hope you get everything you need out of it. This is in service to you. It's in service to humanity and the planet, which is where all my work is intended for. So here we go. Enjoy. Okay, so what is conscious business and marketing? And how is this different from other marketing? Basically, we don't push things onto people they don't need. So let's have a look at this. First of all, I'm going to ask you to set an intention, but you need to know what my intention for you is first. And that is that I want you to reach your personal vision. I want you to have the income you need to have a healthy life. And I want you to reach your highest potential so you feel satisfied and you feel like you've reached a level of calm and confidence in your own profession. And when you feel like that, you're an amazing citizen and you can have impact on planet Earth. So that's my intention in creating this for you today. Now, conscious business and marketing, it's about kind of helping people helping you tap into a conversation that someone somewhere right now is saying, I wonder who I should call about, or how would I get helped about that thing? So they've already got you, not particularly you because they don't know you yet, but they've got what you do in their mind. They're looking for it. They need it. And so marketing is really just about connecting what someone needs with someone who offers it at its most simplest, okay? It's never about being pushy and trying to make people think they need something or make them feel bad about who they are. I mean, I know marketing's had a terrible reputation for that, but that's not you and that's not me. And we're going to do marketing differently. So that's the good news. Hopefully you're excited about that and you're still with me. Okay. When you have empathy and you express that in your communication with your potential clients, especially when you're speaking to a current difficulty or aspiration that they have, it really is just a beautiful conversation is what you're aiming for. So I want you to really relax into that idea and understand that at the end of the day, marketing is just about connection. And we all need to feel connected and we all need to get connected to the right people. It's how we have a fulfilling life. When you know you have a solution that can help a certain type of person, in a way, it's like your obligation to communicate that well to the world. You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not. I really, really believe that. Okay. So some of you have done the LinkedIn course with me, and that's not about just like getting followers for the hell of it. It really is about getting your message out there in the world. So if you're one of these people that just don't like social media, well, I can't say that I love it, but I love what it can do. Okay, there's lots of things in life, like I don't love lawnmowers, but I love it when my lawn is mowed. So we don't have to love the object. We don't have to love the thing. We have to love what it can do and the benefit that it can provide to humanity. So I'm going to remind you of a few things. And if you've met me before, you'll have heard this before, but a quick reminder. And if you've not come across this before, we can dig into this another time. Everything, when done in right energy, has the impact you want it to have. So when you come from a place of fear or worry or uncertainty or, oh, I don't like this really, but I'll do it anyway, it really does affect the outcome. So if you can get yourself into a good state where you're like, really believe what you have to offer is right, that vibration is so important. Then we move into your thoughts and we imagine what it is you can create. And that's how this manifestation thing happens. This is the practical side of it. Again, if you're new to this, you may not know what the HEART method is. It's a method I teach in the Growth Experience, the program that I run, a deeply regenerative program. But I've possibly got a video I can link to that. So I'll try and do that in the notes below. You can also learn about that beautifully if you're really brand new to this kind of work in the Be Experience. I did create it. I no longer run it, but I'll put the link to the woman who runs it below. They're run by the seasons. So they start every summer, spring, autumn, and winter. So the energy you create with, it's really important. And that's why I've been talking about impact and vision and connection with you, because I think when you really can sink into that belief, it will transform how you think of marketing. Okay. So the frameworks I tend to talk about is that HEART method as a sort of overall strategy for your business. There's also the personal energy imprint, which I do in some of my courses, and the business energy quadrant. That's also something we can do even in a 1-hour session together. But I'm really into keeping strategy simple. And when you say, well, what is strategy? Really, it's whatever you want it to be, but I can work in all sorts of ways. Over here, we're talking about a more regenerative way. Here is like, if you're just feeling a little bit scattered and you don't have a lot of time, I can help cut through that with you in a sort of short 1 or 2 hour session. And then the spiral is one of the most beautiful ways, because it really is inherently a fundamental symbol, often used in Indigenous communities as well as a fundamental symbol of life. And I think when we work with our right energy and our right rhythm, strategy is really good fun, and keeping it simple. Okay, so let's get into some detail here. These are the 3 key elements that I want you to have: is to know your why, super clear. You know exactly why you're doing it, and you know how to communicate it with a very clear message. And then secondly is your voice. Your voice is really important, because your voice is what gives personality. It's how you express your compassion. It's how you feel like, yeah, I kind of like that person. I think I'd like to work with her. It's just being yourself, turning up as yourself. Sometimes, you know, you don't know who you are, so we might need to do some work on that. But I'm guessing most of you have an inkling. And thirdly is the strategy, which is the map, which is just to create a very clear pathway. And I'm going to give you some examples of that in a moment. So have your pen and paper handy for that. Before, though, I talked to you about my intention, but I haven't yet asked you the really important question is, what is your intention? So just from that really short rave that I've had, or any experience that we've had with each other before, you know how important this is. What you decide right now in this moment, whether you decide to stick with me and finish this video or come back to it later or watch it again, what is it? What is your intention? How do you want to be seen or heard? How do you want people to engage with you? Or do you not even know yet? Maybe we need to have that discussion. But if you're not sure, could you just hit pause on this video and create a sentence or 2 that really describes what you're really wanting to get out of this? Because I'm about to show you a really simple, beautiful marketing plan, and you can use this to create one for yourself. So pause it and have a think about your intention. Okay, I'm going to assume you've just paused it. I got a couple of questions for you. What do you actually like about business? Again, hit pause. And what do you not like about business? I just call it a spade. I'm highly practical. But I want to kind of get this out of the way in case there's a bit of a block or a barrier. So hit pause and answer these questions. Aha, you knew this was coming. What do you like about marketing? What do you not like about marketing? Hit pause. Okay. If you want to comment below on that, I will reply to you. But if you've got some challenges, getting them out of the way is going to be really helpful. I've got another few questions for you. When did you last try to buy something off someone and it just didn't work? You didn't know where to go, or the link didn't work, and it was just very frustrating. Because this is part of marketing. Because I'm wondering if you're providing a clear way for people to work with you. What about when you last gave feedback to a business? Were they gracious? Did they say thank you? Did they try and make excuses? I wonder if you do that. Hey, I've been trying to get you. Yeah, well, I've just been busy. In marketing, people don't want to hear that. They want to hear that you can be available and how you will be available, and for you to apologize and ask how you can help. But have a think about what your experience was with others, because I want you to reflect on that and think, gosh, do I want to be like that in business? Or do I want to be like someone else? Perhaps you can think of someone right now that you think does a really good job at customer service. Do you want to be like them? Okay. After having answered those questions, let me ask you to revisit your intention one more time, because perhaps you'd like to tweak it now. So hit pause and really get clear, because we're about to go into a question exercise where you're going to get so much clarity about what you do, or you're going to identify a massive gap in what you do. One or the other, you're about to get a huge result. So I want you to have this intention clear, because the clearer the intention, the clearer the outcome. So pause now and do that. Okay, are you ready? So pen and paper handy, or perhaps you're on the computer and you like to type. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And here's number one. I want you to create 2 lines. One is I want you to rate your belief. So if number 1 was not much belief and number 10 was absolute total belief in what you do, I want you to just give yourself a number. Okay, and now do it for yourself. What about you as a human? If 1 was, I have no belief in myself personally, this is totally separate to business now, and 10 was, I have absolute belief in myself, what would you say? Okay, so you've got your 2 numbers, because belief is probably the biggest area I have discussions with people on. When you get your belief sorted, everything else in business starts to flow. But it's also not a problem if you have an issue with belief, because sometimes that can be the very thing that needs to be clarified. And when we clarify your belief, then you can go into flow. So it's often a gift to have a problem with belief, but either way, identifying it is the first step. So keep that in mind as we move through the rest of the questions. Okay, I want you to describe your typical ideal client. And if you don't have any clients yet, perhaps you could just describe what you think they would be like. So I want you to hit pause here and really, really think about how they look, what they like, what they need, what problem they might have. I want you to really think about your target audience, would be a marketing term. But for me, I'm just going to ask you, if someone's going to walk in the door and they're going to phone you up for your business, who are they? Take a moment and describe them. Okay, welcome back. I'm going to assume you hit paused. And if you found yourself having more than one, that is okay. A lot of people out there will tell you, oh, you can only have one ideal client. I think that's nonsense. And there's a whole philosophy around that I would have to leave to another time. But once you know who you want, then you can start to imagine how you might speak to them. Okay, so how you're going to speak to a 5-year-old is different. How you might speak to a CEO of a company, which is different to how you might speak to someone who's having a health crisis. Yeah. So, are you ready for the next question? Okay, here we go. What problem are you solving for your clients? Because in business, if you don't have a problem, usually you don't need a solution. I guess that's the simplest way to explain it. So hit pause and really get clear. What is it you're actually solving for people? Okay, I'm going to assume you hit pause. Are you ready to go to the next question? Here we go. What is your business model? I often get blanks at this. What do you mean business model? So in business, you need to have a model. A simplest way to explain it might be, so my business model is 90% of my work is done on Zoom. So I can work from anywhere in the world, as long as I have a computer, as long as I have a calendar link that people can book an appointment, and as long as I have a website that clearly communicates what I do. So my business model is one-to-one private appointments and one-to-many when I teach courses. Okay, so my business model is one-to-one sessions and one-to-many. So hopefully that helps you think about what your business model might be. Hit pause and write it down. Okay, welcome back. The important thing about a business model is sometimes people have a business model that's not very viable, or it takes up too much of their time. So sometimes just creating a variation on that business model can really free up time. So your business model is a very important part of a marketing strategy. Okay, ready for the next question? If not, hit pause. Okay, here we go. What's your message? Do you have one? My message today is I can help you create a marketing strategy that makes you feel great about your business and feels like it can get your business back into the flow so that you can have all the confidence and income you need. And I could have probably said that shorter, but I have many messages. That's just one of them. My overarching message is that I believe that the planet needs us to be in full service to them by having a regenerative approach, a new approach to everything we do, so that we create a new reality for ourselves, one that is healthy and prosperous and more connected, more deeply connected to the essence of life. Now, some people might think, what's business mentoring got to do with all of that? But in all honesty, I feel like business is an opportunity to do that. So I can communicate that message. I got a few messages, but you do need to be able to say it easily and simply and impactfully. One of the ways you can do this, if you're struggling, is you can just do this. Write the words, I help, ... On the second line, write the letter to, T-O, ... And on the third line, write get, ... So now you can fill in the blank. So I help business people to have a clear marketing strategy so they can get more clients. Yep, that's at its simplest. So if that's helpful, pause or rewind and do that again, and we'll go on to the next question. Okay, question 6. What tech do you need for your business? Do you see clients physically? So you might need a receptionist or a calendar booking system. Do you just simply need a phone? Do you need a shop front? Do you need a sign? If you run primarily online, do you need calendar booking? Do you need Google Docs? Or do you need any of that? Some people really, they're so busy getting all the right things that they need that they're not actually doing business. Or they may have a website that doesn't really communicate what they do, or they may have a website that's not seen on Google. One of the reasons I'm passionate about a platform like LinkedIn or YouTube is that they have naturally amazing SEO. It is in their interest to promote their own platform. So, when I started online 20 years ago, it was so easy to be on the first page of Google. There was hardly any of us online. But now, 23 years later, it's almost impossible to naturally be on the front page of Google. So we have to leverage our presence with platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, who have a natural presence. So I started going down another hole then, but that was interesting for some of you, I'm sure. So what do you need? What do you need? Keeping it simple is very important. And yes, this is all part of a marketing strategy, because a marketing strategy is just what do you communicate, who do you help, and how do you communicate it? So I just want to make sure you have the right tech. So hope you're enjoying this. We've got 3 questions to go, I think. Question 7, money. Money is one of the outcomes in business. It's not the only one. Most of us, if you're watching this video, impact is probably more important to you. But we do need to know how you price yourself says a lot about your target audience. So if you're pricing at $5 a unit, I might be pricing for a teenager or for a high turnover sales process. I could offer the same service as a naturopath for $50 or $300 or more. How I price pitches to the person that comes in the door. And this goes back to who your ideal client is, but it also depends on the service you offer. Perhaps you have a specialty, but it does communicate something about you. So there's one aspect of money. The other aspect of money is just, and for those of you who have done the business energy quadrant process, which is this amazing 1-page business plan that we do, that really shows you if it's actually viable. So pricing is really important for viability, and then we can do our cash flow planning and assess the viability of the business on both time and money. So I wonder when the last time was that you just got out a pen and paper and assessed the viability. Okay, we're nearly at the end. All really important questions. I hope you agree. You can come back and do this as many times as you need. Step 8. What support do you have to reach your business goals? And the answer to this question usually starts at home. It's usually a family member if you're new to business. It could be the people in your house supporting you. It may be professional assistants, like usually an accountant. It could be a cleaner to help relieve some domestic pressure. It could be a business coach, a business mentor, a marketing strategist. There are lots of people. It could be a tech person. It could be a computer person. What support do you have now, even if you don't need their service this week, to know that you can call them? Building relationships with people who support you is fundamental to any good strategy. Okay, ready to move on? Hit pause if you still need to take some more notes. Step 9. This is a game changer. Where is the leverage in your business? And if you're not sure what this means, I'll just give you an example. If I am communicating this workshop to some people, if I'm doing it with one person, then one person is paying me. If I'm doing it with 10 people, I'm doing the same, delivering the same material over the same amount of time, but 10 people are paying me. So that's one way to look at leverage, is how can you do something to many people? Writing a book is leverage because it's a product created once and you can sell over and over again. Creating a video is a leverage because people can watch it in their own time. You can be off on holiday and people can be watching it. There's lots of ways to create leverage, but the general idea is what can you do with less time and resources that creates more impact than whether you had to deliver it one-to-one. Okay. I'm helping a business at the moment to create a sponsorship package. Sponsoring is an amazing way to create leverage because it gets your message out to many, many people using other people's contacts and connections, which is a lot more than you could ever do yourself. So leverage has many ways to look at it, but you have to have leverage in your business. Don't worry if you don't have it now. It's something to work towards. Otherwise, you're kind of a slave to the business. One more question. Here we go. How do you measure your progress? A simple way, if you're a sole trader, would be simply your income. But supporting other people to get to know you, then that's when you need testimonials or case studies, any kind of feedback loops where other people are talking about you, hearing what people have to say, getting feedback and how you collect that feedback. Assessing your business viability based on the time and the costs required. There's many, many ways to measure your progress, but measuring what you do in time as well as money is fundamental to mapping a viability and to creating a good strategy in business. So I'm going to invite you to hit pause there. Okay, so that completes the 10 questions. You may want to go back and revisit them or reach out to me if you're stuck on any of them. Okay, I'm now going to take you through a basic marketing strategy process, and I'm going to just go through it quickly because it's so individual. First of all, here's one way to do it. A lot of people who are creative really like to work this way, where you can put yourself at the center, and the circles in white are the key things you need to know. When you talk to me, you'll find that nature is usually in there somewhere. And just create a little bit of a map. I call this the business ecosystem. There's a lot to this, too much to explain now, but if this sort of sparks an insight for you, then we can explore that another time. A more sort of strategic way and a sort of typical way would be to draw up some columns. And these are the headings I'd like you to draw up, and I'm going to very briefly go through them. I've got some explanations on this page. I won't read them all out, but you can come back and read these later once you see what I do with them. Okay. So reach and nurture is where I always say very little business happens there, but it's really important to exposure. I go into that a lot of detail in a full marketing workshop, but think LinkedIn, think email newsletters, ways that you engage with people where they're enjoying your content, they're hearing from you, they're reading your voice, they're hearing your voice, They're understanding what you're about. They understand your purpose. They like your information, but they're not always necessarily buying. But it's just really important. So this is often social media, and email is the sort of typical ways that most people do it. But there's many other ways. It could be signs and advertising and all sorts of things. Engagement is what we really want in a good marketing strategy. This is a really key piece. This is like a workshop, a link to get something, an educational piece, a book. It's a way that rather than just looking at you on social or an advertisement and thinking that's interesting, I'm now going, I really like this person. This is helpful. I think I'd like to do more with them. There's hundreds of ways to engage, and what works best for your personal business is something we'd have to go into personally, but I'm just wondering if some of you might be getting sparked right now, like what workshop or educational piece could you offer that allows me to engage with you? The next process in any good strategy is the conversion, and this is what is basically where I think I'm going to book an appointment with you. This is good. I think this person's going to help. I've been referred to you, or I've read something you've written, and I think I'm going to do this. But often in the conversion process, it's not easy. Remember that question I asked you earlier? Like, is there a link? Is there a phone number? Is there an answering machine if you're not there? Does it tell me what to do? Do you call me back promptly, not a week later or days later when I've found someone else? But there's often, I find when I work with businesses that this convert and deliver is where there's a lot of problems, which is interesting. And that's why I asked you all those questions about business models and tech, because you would think that all the problems are here, which is the advertising. And it's like, no, some people are spending so much on this, but they haven't got this process worked out. So this is really important. And then, of course, your case studies, we feed them back into feedback loops over here at Reach and Nurture. So I know I've brushed over that, but if you pause and re-listen to that part, I think it will spark some ideas. And what I want you to do is actually map out your marketing strategy in these columns. So there, again, are the meanings. You can pause this and it will just clarify what those columns are about. But to wrap up this video today, I want to tell you about some really common strategy blockers, things that really block people moving forward with this, in case you identify with any of them. Because remember, one of my intentions today was potentially for you to identify a gap in your strategy. So here's the typical ones I see. Just not knowing who your client is and really defining them properly. Trying to look too far instead of looking at what's actually in front of you. Sometimes people will come to me going, well, I've got to work out how to get business over there. And then it's like, well, what about the person in front of you? Perhaps they know someone. The next one is really understanding what's happening in their world. I used to have a company and I got lots of emails, people approaching me all the time for selling me things. And sometimes they would try and sell me something that I already had. So what this is about is like, do your research, see what's going on for them. Maybe notice on social that they're on holiday or they're running a workshop, so it's not relevant right now, and really wait till and do things in right timing. Sometimes it's just not knowing what problem you're really solving. And so framing your service to the problem better can often be the issue, or just reframing it, which is just meaning taking another perspective on looking at it. Number 7 and number 8. 2 of my favorite ones. Are you actually asking? Sometimes I'll get messages from clients just going, oh my gosh, things are really bad this week. I really need some clients. And I'll just say, have you asked for any business this week? So just ask. Sometimes that can be, if you've got an email list, it can just going, I have 4 spots available this week. And I get your email and I think, oh, actually, yeah, he's kind of been on my mind. So I'm not going to call you if I don't need you. But if you've been on my mind and it happened to me the other day. I had a reflexologist and it was a couple of years ago and I couldn't remember her name. And I thought, oh, I'd really love to see her. And I couldn't find an email or phone number. And then out of the blue, I got an email from her that said, happy birthday. Here's a percentage off voucher for your birthday. And I was like, thank goodness you've emailed me, because I've been trying to remember your name. And I booked an appointment and I booked a few more cents. So it can be that simple, just asking. And number 8, are you in the right room? What I mean by that is, if you're selling vegan products, speaking to your elderly relatives or a room full of butchers. It's just not the right room. So you always want to find where's the kind of environments where people are probably interested in what you're doing, where would they be? And then you can run an event or a educational piece for people in that room. It's like, depending on what newspaper you read, there's certain newspapers you just wouldn't pick up, okay, because they're not your, and so that people are not your clients, you wouldn't advertise there. So right room just means right people in the right place and knowing what those places are. Okay, let's finish up. I know I've rushed through a lot of this. I usually take an entire day to go through this personally with someone. But I promise you, if you watch this a few times, you'll get the essence of what you need for good marketing. Just believe in yourself. Remember that rating system? What if you went back to that now? Wonder what the number is after doing those 10 questions. Really, just imagining what you want and believing it's possible is honestly 50% of the process. And then we make a plan. And if you're unsure how to make the plan, you get support for the plan. And then you schedule habits that make you stick to the plan and you keep it simple. Now, it really is that simple, but often we need support for people to remind us that is. But I promise you this, wherever you are, your success and impact is closer than you think, and it can be reached with the right support. So if you can't do it yourself, please think about where you could get support today. So thanks for being here. Watch this as many times as you like. Pause it as much as you like. My name's Janine Barron. You can subscribe to my newsletter at this link, which I will put below. You can visit my website, janinebarron.com, or you can just message me either here below or on my website and ask me, what does help and support with me for your business or marketing strategy look like? And I'd love to talk to you, particularly if you are interested in health and sustainability and regenerative thinking. So I hope this has been super helpful for you today. Thank you for your time, and rewatch it as many times as you need.